What's going on, everybody? Thank you for another episode of Kickin' It with Kachi, where we highlight individuals that are honestly taking the industry by storm. And today, we have the honor to sit down with none other than legendary music producer and DJ Ricky Belfort. And I will have applause one day, but not today. So I'll just be the lone person clapping for you today for that introduction.
Thank you.
But yeah, thanks, man, for stopping by and kicking it with me today. And I know it's the weekend. You probably done got a whole bunch of the stuff to do, but I appreciate you for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So just to get right into it, like just from the beginning, like what made you want to get into music, get into production, and how did you sort of get your first start? What did you sort of have to do and go through to get into the field as a DJ producer?
I guess like how I first got into music, and I guess if I count all the way back, probably from like when I was little, like I have an older brother, 9 years older than me, and he doesn't do music, but he had like an extensive taste of music. Like he had everything from like Tupac, Biggie, all the way to like Creed and Enya, like and everything like that. So he just had like an extensive like diverse taste in music. So he put me on to like I don't know if people know about this now or remember it, but this thing called the box.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like had like a whole bunch of music videos. Like we didn't have cable at the time, but for some
Right.
reason we had the box, which was crazy. But yeah, that's how I found my love for music. I started playing keys first, self-taught at 8 after that. And I always had like an interest in production, hearing different sounds and trying to put it together. And that finally came together like I say when I was like 15, 14, 15, I started like really putting it together. The first beat I like remade was on a friend's like $100 Yamaha. I remade How We Do on there. So
Nice.
that's when I realized like, oh shoot, I can actually make beats like the shit that I'm hearing in my head. So
Right, right.
that's I guess that's like the origin of it, the origin of how I got into it. And yeah, with all the remixes I was making, fast forward, like I started understanding song structure by taking acapellas and making my own beat to it. That's how I learned about like, all right, the hook goes here, the verse goes
Right,
there.
right.
And yeah, it just turned into me making a lot of remixes as well as like original production. And as far as like the DJing part, the DJing aspect, it was something I was always afraid of. I tried to avoid it. I was always doing production, but like I
What
would
made
like
you
be
sort of afraid from DJing?
it's like the thing of like hearing the phrase of like as a DJ, you're either the life or the death of the party. And
Right, right, right. It was a lot of pressure, yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, I don't want that much pressure. I don't want to be like a mood killer or something. But
Right.
I was I was DJing like house parties for like friend and family. I consider them like my cousins. So I would use their pops equipment. It was like I forgot the name of the model of it, but you put the CDs in there and it was like 2 decks. So I was already making like playlists and mix CDs.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
like a I had like a short run like in my high school slash middle school days of like selling mix CDs, and then I just got lazy. But yeah, all these mix CDs I was using, I didn't like fast forward to now. Well, last year I didn't realize that that's what people do like for their crates.
Right, yeah.
So I was like prepping myself for this without even realizing like everything leading up. So
Right, right.
I'd have my mix CDs. I'd have like down south influence, Bay Area, East Coast, and then I'd throw in some of my remixes here and there. But I stopped it there, and then believe it or not, I didn't start DJing publicly till July.
Of last year.
Yeah, the 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I was already like some like they're like industry DJs that were already interested in my remixes. Shout out to them. Shout out to Jay Murphy. He I sent a few remixes to him, and yeah, like I'm like, all right, if they want to spin my stuff,
Right,
like
yeah.
I should have the confidence enough to spin my own stuff too.
Right. And I
So
mean, and only doing it for not even a year now. We're in February, so
yeah,
less than almost about 6 months now. Almost 6 months now. So
yeah,
we're doing about DJ for 6 months and getting a nod to perform at iHeart Live Media. right? That seems to be a very big jump from just starting out and being afraid of doing something to being on a major platform like that. So what was the steps and what was the experience in getting connected with iHeart?
Oh, the iHeart situation was a part of a situation I was in back in like late 2018, 2019. But I will say that that did create the start of like what I was envisioning. Because for a while, I wanted to do the producer artist slash producer DJ route.
Right,
Like listening to a lot of K Tronada, Calvin Harris, Sango. I always
right,
wanted to be in that lane, but in the past, I listened to the wrong people, and they're like, "Oh, well, to become that, you're ready to like you have to have placements and stuff out there
right.
already." So I just kept being in the background and just like, all right, just settled for that. But I just there was a video that I can't recall if it's on YouTube or Instagram, but I remember Illmind saying something like the thing that you want to do, like like he envisioned it like every night.
Right.
So like I think it was like I want to say like August 2019. I just kept doing that. I just kept envisioning it. And at the time, August 2019, I was actually borderline homeless. Like I was couch to
Wow.
couch. And I just kept envisioning it. And fast forward, once I saw the iHeart thing happen, I'm like, yo, this is like part of the thing I envisioned. Like I envisioned like dark, a crowd, lights from different equipment. That's all I kept
Right.
seeing. So yeah, so when the iHeart thing happened, it sparked something, and I was already low key going viral on TikTok, and that's a whole other story within itself. But damn, I don't even know if I could fit that into 30 minutes. But um, yeah,
Well,
it's
Chief,
a
we can.
huge.
We'll get to. We'll make sure we can space out the time in here. We'll get to everything. We'll try to get everything.
Yeah. But yeah, when the iHeart thing happened, I was pretty much making a decision to take a leap. So everything from that to fast forward, like this thing brewing on TikTok, like my fourth
Right.
viral video was the thing that exploded. And I was keeping it low for certain reasons until it was like time. So when it got like that mass viral moment or whatever, um, that's when I was like, all right, I have to take this leap. I got to
Right.
do it.
Exactly.
So the times of me suppressing and trying to ignore me, like my vision of becoming a producer DJ, producer artist, I started going forth, and most like the results I always wanted to get started happening a lot more frequent when I focused on myself.
Right.
So so in a nutshell, all of this stuff, all of this is what inspired me to like fully do this route.
And going into the producer artist, as you say, like a lot of people also are naysayers to the producer artist route. Like
Hmm.
they say that Kanye West is the only anomaly to ever be the
Hmm.
producer to also be an artist. But we see as well now that Pierre Bourne,
Hmm.
like you said, Calvin Harris, all these other producers are also, recording on their own production. So was
Hmm.
that something or hurdle that you also had to get over, realizing like, hey, you don't want to be boxed into just producing and being the person behind the construction of the music, but you also want to be involved with the vocals, the arrangement, things of that nature.
Yeah, yeah. So with that, like with this thing, like, because I know I'm definitely not the first one, but I wanted to be part of the movement where
Right. Yeah, it's
to
definitely a
let
movement.
people, yeah, to let people know that producers, like production is the artistry in itself.
Right.
Like the beat, like Daft Punk. Daft Punk, they're known for like the vocoder thing. They don't have it on every song, but when you hear a Daft Punk beat, it's their name on it.
Right.
It's not, they're not waiting for someone to jump on it. And then in their projects, they either have beats on there or featuring people on on the production. So that's something I'm definitely working on now, where I'm trying to bring some artists together and make an EP or do some releases.
Yeah. And was it sort of weird to hear your own voice and sort of making the beat and getting in the studio? Because you're probably more used to being the guy that's helping other artists, help find their sound, get their lyricism and get their vocals ready. But now you also are gonna have to essentially play two parts in a sense, right? You have two type of
Yeah.
hats on. So are you vocally trained? Have you always been singing and rapping and making music on your own in addition to production, or is it something that kind of developed as you became more of a producer?
Well, I mean, as far as like the producer artist thing, it's like I drop things that are more like production based, so it's not necessarily my vocals on it or like any vocal on it at times. Sometimes I'm putting samples together and just like the I guess the Daft Punk reference, right? Like all they did is have like a thing chopped up to say one more time, right?
Right, right.
And that's like the vibey, situation. Or Major Lazer had to had Pondy Floor,
Yeah, right,
where there was no vocals on there except for
right.
that part and those O's that they chopped. So
Oh man, yeah.
that's like the artistry overall that I'm going into. But in the past, I did used to rap. I did get some nods for that, but although like I'll enjoy writing for someone else, like I like fell out of love with it to actually become a rapper.
Right.
I don't I feel like it's a gift that I have, but not use it in the same way of that being the forefront of my thing. So I don't know, maybe one day I might do like a alias thing, like go under a different name with the rapping thing real quick,
Right, right.
like the mask or something. But for now I'm like, yeah, I don't mind writing for other people, but it's like I have more of a hunger to, be a part of that movement of showing that like us like producers just dropping a beat, that's still an artistry, right?
Right, right, right,
That we could just drop beats and it'll still get spins and maybe even
right.
chart.
Right.
So
And actually, one of my favorite artists that does it today is Metro Boomin, who can
yeah.
drop a collab tape. And after the tape, he drops the instrumentals for the
Hmm.
songs. And personally, like from the last tape, I didn't really like it as much as like the second tape, but I like the instrumentals more. And like you said, I feel like there is a massive undertaking of producers that are saying, hey, we have an artistry too, right? Like
Hmm.
hip hop has been very much, or music has been very much vocal based for like the last 20 so years, 30 or so years, with the
Yeah.
rise of, underground hip hop, of taking those samples, flipping it. But it's crazy how now we're
Hmm.
moving back into reverse and we're
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
same samples that they were flipping, find the pockets into rap over, but then now taking those vocals, flipping those vocals and making new
Hmm.
production. That's really cool. So how did you essentially get into the idea of or follow the trend as we see on TikTok and social media now with a lot of producers and DJs of these mashups, right? Is there a formula? Is there a thing that says, hey, what crazy songs can I mash up together? Or do you essentially just already have the knowledge of saying, I already knew that this song would go with this song. I already knew this song would go with this song. Is it experimental? Is it more intuitive? What's the process in creating these mashups?
I mean, with the mashups, like I mentioned, like how I got into song structure and like I would do the remixes and stuff like that. So I was already technically doing mashups
Right.
like
Yeah.
before. I didn't even realize it was a trend until what was it, maybe like a few months ago, maybe like 3, 4 months ago. But
Right. Right.
but yeah, with the mashup, since I've always like since I'm a musician as well, like I played on live gigs and everything. Even like I'd sub for wedding bands. I
Yeah.
would like mash up songs like in between on keys. So like when we go to the second verse of Poison or something, second verse I'll like randomly throw in like the horn line of like I'm
Oh
cool
yeah,
like
you
that.
you got a little Haitian in you. I already know. You
Oh
already
yeah.
I already know how they do. I've been to the Caribbean a couple of times.
Oh
I
yeah,
know how
yeah.
y'all do.
So it's just like just mixing up songs like just like recently, I guess because I knew it was in the same key. I had like the vocal of "You Don't Have to Call Usher,"
Yeah.
and I was humming the bass line from Electric Relaxation Tribe Called Quest. I'm like, yo,
Wow.
that go crazy together. So it's like I always hear it. I always hear like how to. I guess because of musicianship and just
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it'd be cool to mix some of those things. And then my fiance is a singer, so like on gigs when she does what's the song? I Get So Lonely.
Yeah.
I play the what you call it? Are You That Somebody under her, and then she'll go
Ah,
into I Get So Lonely and then I kind of like do the flip.
and they just
So
go
we
crazy.
yeah, so I've been like we've been doing that for a while. Like I've been experimenting. like when she does gigs and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Let me do that with the production. So I did that, and now it's like a trending sound on Instagram.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, getting into marriage and fiancé ship, first,
Mhm.
congratulations,
Oh,
right?
thank you,
And
thank you.
how is that? How is that balancing that passion of, because like you said a couple years ago, you were homeless, right? So how is balancing that passion of following this dream, really going all in on something that you really have the talent, the grit, and the endurance for, but then also building a life with somebody and having these practical, realistic expectations and structures that's supposed to happen with that.
Mhm. I mean, with that, it's like me and her like teammates, and we're both pursuing the
Right.
same artistry. She helps me stay in line and stay organized with my things, and also motivates me to get my stuff done. And I also, whatever she needs help with, or like, because I know for a little bit with her with the social media, she was trying to figure out what to do. So I helped her out, help her out with that. Like we pretty much, our weaknesses, or I guess how I'm trying to word it, like we know what our strengths are and what our
Right,
weaknesses are.
right,
So
right.
she helps me with my weakness, and then vice versa, and just apply our strength to those things. So
Right,
that's,
right.
from that we've just been like a good team on everything, and just we met like on a very transparent, and started on a very transparent relationship. That's like the whole basis of it. So she knew everything that was going on from when I was in a situation, and like before, I guess before us like being together, like I lived in Canarsie. Like after the
Oh,
homelessness, I lived in
yeah.
Canarsie for a little bit, and she saw that I was kind of like in a, I guess career wise, I'm trying to be politically correct. Um, ah, she saw that I was like in a situation where I definitely had to take a leap, where
Yeah,
certain things weren't what they should be.
right, right,
So, she motivated me with that. She motivated me to take the leap, and I was, not gonna lie, I was scared of shit. But
right.
it turned into me starting to build my brand.
But yeah,
Mm,
shout out to you guys, and like I said, congratulations again. Because honestly, partnership is the hardest, but the
mhm.
easiest. It's the hardest thing to obtain, but it makes life super easy.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
thankful
yeah.
that you were able to find that, because a lot of people just are still searching for it. And now
Mhm,
moving into like, I guess getting into, because I feel like me turning 25 right now,
mhm.
social media is every day a ever changing beast, right?
Yeah.
I started growing up, I was on AIM, right? Like I was
Oh
I
yeah.
was a last AIM kid. I had my Facebook. That was a culmination
Mhm,
of all social media to me. And then now we got all this other stuff, right? And I know you at 32 going to 33, you probably felt the
mhm,
same way. So is there some sort of hurdle, some sort of obstacle, some sort of experience that you had to undergo to sort of figure out like, how do I break into the main, how do I break the noise, right? Like back in the day, you
mhm,
probably know, growing up, growing in crates, going in, learning how to really mix, well, turntables, do your thing, hands on, real nitty gritty work. But now, sheesh, you mean you can have a beat pad on your phone now, like everyone's a producer. How did you essentially go through the social media noise, you know, given that we haven't grown up with this social media to exactly learn how to
mhm.
take advantage of it in the best way?
I felt like in a weird way I always had like a knack for it, because like in the MySpace days when I figured out how to make like a music page,
Yeah,
I was throwing some of those remixes on there.
yeah, yeah.
So but then when we went to Facebook, I had to re-navigate, reconfigure, like, all right, how do I put my artistry on here? Because everybody left went there.
Right.
And back when it wasn't like a bad practice to do, I did tag like friends in it, because
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
you tag people, they like other people that they're friends with saw it on their
Right.
feed. So, and I was doing that in like my rapping days. So I developed like a small thing with my rapping, and then you know I got
They
more
got Ricky. They got Ricky Vintage.
then I went to the producer side, put some of my remixes on there, and yeah, when it came to Instagram, I was just consistent. So I mean, like the whole thing with Instagram, in my opinion, I think it's all consistency. But I do agree, like a lot of people disagree with me with this as far as like the marketing. When I'm like, no, the algorithm plays a role, because I've been
Yeah,
on both sides of it.
yeah.
I've I've been on the good side of the algorithm and the bad. So I'm gonna say it's the algorithm because same post that I put up that could have like 100 likes in a month will have like 15K likes in 2 weeks after I repost it.
Right, right, right.
So it's not that people don't like it. It's just that certain people ain't see it, and if the algorithm feels like, well, they don't like this. This is trash to them. They're not gonna push it.
Right.
So it's
And do you
I
feel
don't.
like the music in which we grew up, you grew up on, does that still have a placeholder, a niche in today's mainstream? Because, like I said, you are getting the viewership, you are getting the virality. Kudos to you. It's just
Oh,
a
thank
sense
you.
of before, before the virality, was there a sense of, oh wow, will the kids really even know Monica, Ashanti, Genuine, all these people that I'm mashing up with these newer artists or older artists?
Now, I think people are going backwards in sound,
Yeah,
if I phrase that right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I feel like, and especially having relatives in, I guess, not to sound like an old head, but like relatives that are in Gen Z or whatnot.
yeah.
I find them like I didn't realize that one of my younger cousins, she listens to Brandy and all of that.
Really?
So I'm like, oh, okay, I like y'all
Oh,
know
the
this
youth are
music.
in good
What's
hands then.
up? So the Aaliyah Janet mashup, that's still going. I still get notifications to this day, and
Right.
that was so they definitely know the music.
And looking at like moving forward and like looking at 2023, what do we have to essentially look forward to from Ricky Belfort?
Finally, the releases and maybe some parties. I'm trying to put together some parties or hop on some parties and just like create an event where like I'm spending all my flips, but I don't want to just have it just based around me right now
Right.
because I want to continue building community, especially after like multiple moments and small like going viral at certain points. Like I feel like yeah, numbers are cool, but if you have that community, like that's what puts you through the threshold because there's some that like that's been rocking with me for a while that are actually like supportive. Like
Right.
shout out to I don't know if she's comfortable by going by her name on Instagram or her government name, but yeah, shout out to Savannah from Sweden. Yeah, she's been like an amazing supporter. There's a few other people too, like that just been rocking with me and just been motivating me to keep this going.
Right. I was gonna say you have a lot of supporters from around the world, actually, like
Yeah.
Brazil, you just said Sweden. How did you kind of like what's the experience in kind of finding out that someone in a whole nother country, probably speaking a language you don't even know, but knows your name and knows your music and knows your artistry?
Um, I still I'm still trying to process it because like it's
Right.
encouraging, like it's super encouraging, but it's like I have a little bit of like imposter syndrome with it because I'm still like I'm still
Right, right.
broke. I'm
Right.
still
In
broke. Like
America,
I
you're a regular dude, but to someone in Brazil, you're like, oh my God, Calvin Harris.
yeah, because I'm like I just 'cause I'm someone I just took the train, come back home, and got stuck on the train. So it's like so I don't feel like I mean I don't want to speak that on my life, but I don't know. I guess since I feel like I don't see myself at a certain thing, I don't feel like I'm there yet to even have
Right,
that kind
right.
of thing. But I'm super appreciative of it. Like
I
I'm
mean,
still
that's
at a
fair to
loss for
say, yeah.
words.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think it goes both ways. Like you can see, like for a lot of artists growing up, they may want to break out. Like coming from New York, you already know that we have probably one of the hardest like industries to break out in, especially when it
yeah,
comes to music. So for that newer artist, they will love to break out in New York City, but they're not looking at the fact they're breaking out in Lithuania or Sweden or Germany or
oh yeah,
somewhere like that. And those people are ready to rock with them at a drop of a hat once they want to really tap into that market and really like take
mhm.
that support. But like you said, like Germany support doesn't do for you booking a show in New York to pay your
Yeah.
bills and pay rent in
I
New York.
mean, I'd love to do a show out there. I'd love to do a show in
Right.
Brazil. It's just I noticed that the algorithm shields my Brazilian fans from my newer content, and I'm trying to figure out why. Because before the change, and I used to like steady the algorithm at one point, believe it or not. There was one person that actually, I think my cousin knows, that works at Facebook. And when my cousin told him like what I picked up like from a few years ago, that I was like, yo, it seemed like they used to change the algorithm every 60 plus days. And he was
Right,
like,
right.
yo, how, and my cousin, he put me on the phone and he was like, yo, how does he know that?
He knows too much. Cut him off, cut him off. He knows too much.
I mean, now more so it's like every three, I think, from the last time we spoke. But yeah, now I just feel like my international audience gets like shielded from my content, and I'm trying to figure out how to how to like translate things to tell them like how appreciative I am, and two, to try to get more stuff to them so that maybe I can, take the leap and try to do a show out in Brazil, because that's something I wanted to do for a while.
Right, right. And
So
like you said, it helps you learn the language, helps you learn connections,
mhm,
and helps you, meet new people and get to new places, right? So
yeah.
getting into knowing, like getting into collaborative as well, like Belfort Music, how did that come to be your brainchild? And then the idea behind, okay, let me create a brand that is separate from myself to
Mhm.
kind of legitimize or, codify your artistry.
I mean, I did it as, I guess, transparency. I ain't got nothing to hide, but transparency. For it started with trying to figure out stuff for my taxes for the time of, if I make too much money,
Right,
that's gonna be the company name that I do everything
right.
under. And I saw people like taking my first initial name. Originally, it was gonna be Fort Bell Music to play on my last name.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, but someone else already had it on Instagram, so I'm like, all right, before anyone else takes this one, I'm gonna make a page and let it be known that it is like what you call it, that not reputable, but people know of this page, that it has like
Right,
some
right,
recognition. So like my last two releases, I put it under the Belfort Music name.
right.
And just how Diplo has, what is it, Mad Decent.
Yeah.
That's what I want Belfort Music to be, because like under Mad Decent, it's him, Major Lazer, and I think two other entities, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, Diplo is in Major Lazer, but since
Right,
it's two
right.
separate things, it's like signing both. So that's the kind of thing I wanted to have with Belfort Music. Like, I don't necessarily want to sign people. I really want it to be, well, one, like when people do any type of business with me, if I'm doing the venue, they deal
They're
with the Belfort
working
Music
through
name.
Build for Music. Right, exactly.
Because if anything, instead of calling things a team, like I want to kind of have like a community, right?
Right.
If if someone needs my help with something, I'm trying to say it like in a politically correct way that I don't get canceled. But there's a
Hey
certain
man, I don't I
community,
don't I don't cancel. I don't get
because I
canceled.
don't,
I don't cancel, man.
because me saying it isn't in a bad way. It's like, if anything, it's in a really admiring point of view. But there's a certain community that, if they need a doctor, they go to them. If that doctor needs a mechanic, he goes to them.
Right, right, right.
And we keep the cash flow within, we help each other gain that cash flow.
Right, right, right.
So
And I
that
think
so
being like African and Caribbean, we kind of understand that
hmm
communal, Paul helps Peter, Peter helps Matthias, Matthias helps John sort of situation. Yeah, I definitely understand.
yeah. Yeah, so that's what I want, as far as like a team moving forward. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now. But yeah.
But I think
My
that's
bad
the
if I went
smartest
on a
thing though,
tangent.
because I feel like a lot of artists, their biggest I just got my LLC yesterday. Their
Mm,
biggest mistake is, like you said, when you're blowing up, right? Like you're doing these shows, you're getting all this attention and you're making money, and then here comes tax season, and then you've been
yep.
doing your 9 to 5, and you think that you only been making X amount of money, but they're like, no, sir. You
hmm
actually been making this amount, so you owe us like $2,000, $3,000 in taxes. I've seen it time and time again, just because
Yeah.
artists think that they can, I mean, it's a great dream, but in
hmm
America, there's dreams come with plans, and plans come with rules and
Yep.
regulations and things of that nature. So that definitely, I feel like, is a very important note to someone watching this later. That's gonna be like, oh wow, yeah, I'm starting a business. I'm gonna make money. The government's gonna want a piece of that. Let me go handle how I'm gonna make sure that all that is done. But we got 8 minutes left, and I don't want to get uh through this time without this final question, because your story is so inspirational and you're such a dope individual that I know someone else watching this has already learned so much. But I know that you have
Thank you.
three gems that you kind of want to, you've been holding on to your heart probably throughout your entire journey that's been carrying you forward, that I think would be great and beneficial if you want to share that to someone else watching this.
3 gems. The first one's gonna be cliche, but it is very essential. But consistency, even like no matter what, consistency, even if it looks like or feels like you're losing, just because you feel something doesn't mean it's necessarily true.
Right.
Right. So it's like it's just persevering and pushing through. Like I just rewatched this clip of Chadwick Boseman, like on the way of coming back to the crib actually, where I can't say it verbatim because it's like my mind is like fuzzy right now trying to remember everything. But it's like going after, it's going after purpose and like that sting of defeat, to like use that as like the motivation to push through.
Right. Right.
So it's I know I didn't say it verbatim, but it's like the it, like when I heard that again today, like it put me in more of a different mindset of,
Right.
just because something hurts doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do it. Just because that loss like hurts that bad, it doesn't mean give up on it. So that's gem number one. Um, Gem number two, you can't do everything by yourself. Teams are essential. And as someone right now trying to develop a team to help me push things forward, because with going viral, I didn't necessarily have a team to help me execute all the visions
Right.
that,
Right. To take
not,
advantage of the virality. Yeah.
yeah, and not that I never wanted a team, it's just that I came out of a situation and I didn't know things would be like blown out of proportion the way it was, which was great. But here I am trying to make merch, or trying to find multiple engineers to help me mix down the project, or looking for features for the project. And it just, I mean, thank God for my fiance, like handling the admin stuff as far as like my
Right.
emails. But other than that, it's like, doing things by yourself, you will get burnt out.
Right.
You will get, no matter how strong you are mentally and doing everything yourself, if people want to help you, accept the help.
Nah,
So
amen to that, definitely. Because I'm definitely the type of person that likes to do everything by themselves, because I don't know. I think that's just my one of my personal traumas of just doing everything by myself. But you're right. Like,
yeah.
hey, we can only go far when we go together.
hmm And the third gem, the third and last gem.
5 minutes, no
Uh,
pressure.
I meant, oh man, 'cause I definitely want it to be something that's cohesive with the first two. But oh yeah, last one. Yeah, don't be afraid to fail. You're not gonna get everything right away.
Right.
Um, sometimes your best success sometimes is not getting it right the first time. So it's like putting all your eggs in the basket of, oh, I'm gonna do this and it's just gonna work.
Right.
Like, don't get so discouraged that it's like, oh, if you see it not working the first time and it's something that you envision and dream of every single day, and you know for a fact it's your purpose, don't give up on it because of one L. It could be two L's, but just don't give up on it if it's something you truly want to do.
That's dope. No, that's dope. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And honestly, man, thank you so much for coming in and kicking it with me, and coming on a Saturday. I know it's nice
That's,
outside over there, and
that's all good. I
you
mean,
might
it's
get your
brick.
stuff going. But
It's
I'm glad it
brick
was a
out
good
there.
conversation, though. It was great. I learned a lot.
Oh, thank you.
But before we head out, do you have any final words before we close off?
Um, yeah, I guess just gonna be dropping some music soon with some talented features. Gonna be dropping some beats, vibes on all streaming platforms soon, and yeah, if y'all in New York, the first set of parties that I'm gonna be a part of and doing will be out here. So I don't know if that's either mailing list or DM, but just hit me up if y'all want to come through to that. So
Yeah, I'm down to come out
yeah.
to that. I definitely know
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
down to cover that for the DC voice. That's a fact. But
Appreciate you.
thank you
Thank you.
guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you, Ricky Belfort, for being in this video and sharing so many gems and
Oh,
coming and
thank
kicking it
you.
with me. You guys can watch this interview at our YouTube and our Instagram at the DC Voice. You guys can check out Ricky Belfort at Ricky Belfort, same name as the Zoom name on IG. Check out this interview and past interviews and information on future interviews on our Instagram. But we're out of here, guys. Peace.
Peace.